Okay, and the magic machine lets me know that I am live with about an hour to spend with, well, no one currently. It's early for me. It's 1:30 in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, which is earlier than I usually go live. This has been a wild and crazy week. People who know me know that at one point I was one of these guys that was live streaming on the weekly. Mario, the Ivan Teller. I can understand the confusion. Let me make sure that let me make sure. Hold on. It's the Ivan Teller channel on YouTube that has gone down. Ivan Teller is very much alive. My understanding is he's gone over to Rumble, and we're going to talk about this. Ivan Teller is alive and well and living on Rumble. It's his channel that went down. There you come on now, Mario. Come on now. Listen, I'm a fan. There you go. Thank Phil Blair clarify. We say hello to Mario Heat, gold medal in the live chat. Gold medal for misunderstanding. Philip Blair, second in the live chat. Mario Heat, you're not a mod on this channel? Golden Coin 100, you're not a mod on this channel? We got to get there. Probably all over the place. Foxy's friends over here. Jordan. Catherine. Long time no see, Catherine, though I see you over there on Instagram. I'm gonna go through the archives. Jilly Beans, long time no see. Hey, depending on the hour of the power, I get different people. I'm not mad at you. Do not mod me. I keep blocking people by accident. I remember Mario, like the memories. But that's part of what I want to talk about is the memories. What lost media is a concept that a lot of people understand. Media that goes missing. There's this thing that people say, if a photo goes up on the internet, if anything goes up on the internet, it's there forever. That was one of those sayings that we knew for a million years. We used to tell, people used to tell gals and people all the time, don't make a mistake. Don't let any lewd, lascivious photos of yourself get out there, because if it goes up on the internet, it's there forever. If there's something you don't want on the internet, you think it'd be there forever. No. Stuff that you want to see on the internet, you constantly go back and look for. Kick is actually another streaming service, but we'll talk about this when people go to different services. We'll talk about this. There are issues that a lot of people find with the sustainability of YouTube, not just for the problems that Ivan Teller obviously encountered with getting terminated from YouTube. From YouTube, he did not leave voluntarily. His channel was terminated by YouTube. Hey, Jilly Bean, sorry to hear you're going through a tough time. But there are issues that people know, people from a technical standpoint, people who have studied YouTube and continue to study YouTube, people who study ABC Corp, the parent, company of YouTube, and people who study Google, who talk about, look, there's issues with the sustainability of this platform, with the gigs and gigs of data that people upload, and with the sustainability of streaming services in general, and talk about, look, even things like the almighty Google with, the almighty Facebook and Metacorp, that these unstoppable behemoths and giants, if you get behind the corpo hype, things may not be as rosy for the future as they may seem, and we might run into things like all sorts of stuff gone. Phil Blair sharing information about stuff going from the Wayback Machine. The Wayback Machine is imperfect. There have been collateral attacks and people removing things from the issues with the Wayback Machine, and people talking about things disappearing from even the Wayback Machine. The Wayback Machine is a thing that needs to be maintained and sustained. Remember things like, EMP things and power outages and sustained power outages, things, even digital things that can be sustained or maintained on things like a microchip that can last for 1,000 years on a nuclear powered battery that, could sustain a nuclear. Eventually, the sun will go nova and, bake this earth dead as a cue ball. And if this data doesn't get off this earth, it's gone. Going off to ridiculous things. Greeting us from across the pond in merry old England, Tim Fish and Chips Fry. Hello, everyone. Goodbye, Evan Teller channel. So, look, the purpose of my video is to talk about, look, I never made personal contact with Ivan Teller, though people know that I've talked about Ivan Teller often. Pro and con. I've often criticized his channeling. He engaged in mediumship at times, though I note Ivan Teller is one of my private obsessions. People know that I've often talked about him. I've often felt compelled to talk about him, and my belief at times that he watched my channel, my own personal output, and may have at times been communicating to me under the radar, that some of his channeling sessions may have been perchance aimed in my direction. There was a toy maker, a video that I thought was perchance an homage to my lower vibration self. I don't know. Also, there were times when he was talking about dragons and Dungeons and Dragons, I thought, well, I've got an RPG channel. But look, I mean, that might have been my self-obsession and aspects of my egomania gone haywire. And when I take a step back, I have to say, look, you know what I mean? Look, I'm not, there was a Dungeons and Dragons movie, other people play Dungeons and Dragons. He may, in fact, play Dungeons and Dragons, or know about it, or be into some sort of gal at one of those stores at the mall that sell those, glass, or those pewter statues of Merlin holding a marble, you know what I mean? Influence, I'm not the only dude with a beard who talks about Dungeons and Dragons, right? You know what I mean? He goes to shops at Target, he's going to see other guys who watch action figures. You know what I mean? It's possible. You know what I mean? If I take a step back and realize that the world doesn't indeed revolve around me. Though I will tell you that a lot of the videos that I've made at times that probably may have critiqued and been, aimed at, criticizing him, I think probably were because, look, parasocial relationships on YouTube, go in many different directions. At the same time that I'm a creator, I'm a watcher of YouTube. And I loved Ivan Teller. Ivan Teller, whether it was the result of him being somewhere on, now Lord knows we are all in some way, shape, or form, and I'm not talking about us because you watch my channel and I'm making content, and I'm like, everyone on earth needs a psychiatric intervention, including the psychiatrist. You know what I mean? We all have brains, and brains are complicated things. You know what I mean? We're all a little, you know what I mean? Whether you're a cat person or a dog person, everyone's crazy, right? You don't have to be crazy to be a human being, but you're crazy, right? We're all, whether it's the result of him being him, him, or the result of whatever, his personality, his way of being was unique, and that combined with the fact that a lot of channelers, and the fact that the new age thing and channeling in general, a lot of channelers just channel one or two big ticket items. They channel I am CW Chanter and I channel Fatback Cactus, and on the side order, sometimes I'll channel Lucius from the Nebula cluster, right? And then there's some guys that do a panoply of people, Jim Charles over at the Hooklo Network or whatever. But even they they channel Krishna, Buddha, they big traditional things. Ivan Teller was his big thing was he would channel a Keebler elf and then follow that up with an elf giant, follow that up with like Barbarella. Like he would channel anybody. Did he ever channel Mendoza? No, but he did channel Blue Avians. He channeled L. Ron Hubbard. He tried to channel Aleister Crowley. That's when I made videos about him. I'd be like, dude, stay in your lane. Like it's a lot of stuff. There you go, Tim Frey. No, I hear you. And his channels was great. So he would channel like this diverse array of people, but his channels always had a general characteristic, meaning like from my point of view, and whether or not it was my prejudice, my inability to understand the higher dimensional communications or whatever, and also just his given parlance and style, whoever he was channeling, and he would channel this diverse array of characters, they always spoke in the exact same tone of voice and mannerism. And like people say like, oh, all this new age stuff is word salad, but there's channelers who are like kind of professional channelers, and so they always give you the kind of the word salad of the day, which is always like, dear ones, we come to you in this time of your great questioning, with political upheaval and questions of right and wrong, where many of you are wondering, what is happening? And you say to yourselves, this is madness, and we are here to tell you, now is not the time to lose faith, for it is now that is actually the moment of pre-birth, where the strain is greatest, but it is now right before you burst forth from the cocoon of unknowing, to where the questions become answers and all will become known. Does this answer your question? Yes, it does. And I thank you, Marmalade. Well, we thank you for this participation and our ability to help you. Right? It's like, you know what I mean? It's word salad, but it's, it's in the bowl, right? But his stuff was always like, his videos would always be like, we're going to channel this person, this person, this person. Then it would be kind of an intro, but there was no real clear delineation of when the channel, and then the channeling would kind of begin. And there'd be no real understanding of when the channeling would switch necessarily from persona to persona. And no matter what, it was very difficult to understand what the messaging was. And he would always have his kind of channeling mannerisms, which was always like kind of like like he would always chuckle, and he would always kind of there was always kind of like this self-conscious energy. But generally there was always a kind of very, like, I used to listen to the guy when I went to sleep, because a lot of people described him much like there was another guy who created a lot of lost media, the guy from the Concave Earth who went crazy. I forget him, what his name was. But Ivan Teller, like, a lot of it was kind of like ASMR, because there wasn't a lot of he stayed in the same vocal range. I don't remember ever hearing Ivan Teller scream or really, really raise his voice. It was always this kind of, monotone. He'd always be like, okay. And he was, for what it's worth, there were often times that he would share his life journey. Like, I know for a fact that, he had a day job. He would complain about, people at work, and stuff. And the boss is an idiot, doesn't really know what he's talking about. Like, all this, like personal stuff would come out. And I think that's like what, kind of made him endearing or whatever. And then, like I said, he would go into these channelings, and the channelings, there was a self-conscious thing where he'd say something sometimes, and then like, like he'd kind of like laugh about it. Like, whether it was, a a self-conscious reaction to wondering what people would think about it, or not people not understanding it, but it was what it was. But I know that the guy was a hustler. Like, from day one, he would always maintain his websites and book his channeling sessions and book those, like, ask me like 3 questions and like do his things. Like, the guy would book sessions. Like, I know some of his things, like he was, doing his thing, and it was what it was. And I know the guy was a prolific streamer and uploader. Um, I know I make videos criticizing him. He made several videos that I thought were basically, he was pro Trump. Um, and I think, like a lot of people, I don't want to be, patronizing to the guy. The guy the guy's an individual. He's an adult. He has the right to be ignorant about certain things that I think is an expression of ignorance, and he's got the right to be borderline racist about things that I think he exposed himself as being borderline racist about. He did channelings of India that I thought were, those videos are extant. The videos that I made, to the degree that I didn't create my own lost media by taking certain things and making them, private and stuff, or doing different things. But he definitely got involved in this, absorbed into this whole, booing on, Trump fascination, that I don't think was that I don't think was necessary at all. And that's kind of like, I don't want to be patronizing of the guy, but but for the fact that aspects of the new age community became wed to this mania. We say hello to Fanny by Gaslight. Hello, Fanny. Um, his channel would never have gone canceled at all. And when I talk about the guy being a prolific uploader, one of the things I want to touch upon is when, and what ended up happening to his channel is he got multiple strikes on his channel. He went to Facebook to talk about them before his channel got terminated. And his channel got terminated for stuff related to the 2020 election. And look, it's May of 2024. And it makes you wonder, like, part of the thing that I want to talk about is this grab bag of things. Not only do I want to talk about his channel getting terminated, but I want to talk about the things of, why it's scary. I'm not saying that, his channel should have gotten terminated. I don't think that's the case. But it makes you wonder, because I know that there are channels that have tried to talk about certain subjects. If you go to YouTube's terms of service, there are not only Google's terms of service, which just got updated to talk about a lot of things, but if you go to YouTube's terms of service, it's very clear there are certain things that people are not supposed to talk about in relation to, still, in relation to medical information, and related to political information, and related to other things. And there are people, like, there's a Carrie Cassidy recent upload that she's begging to get knocked out. And the thing with YouTube that's so frustrating is that we talk about Cliff High. Cliff High makes content that I think is so much more egregious than what Ivan Teller did. But I don't know if Cliff has gotten any strikes. I'm not saying that Cliff High should get any strikes, but we also know that there's channels that have tried to say, look, there's this disinformation that's being spread over here on YouTube by this, and the other thing. And those channels have gotten strikes. The channels that have tried to push and point out that these people over here are spreading disinformation about the election, or look, these people over here are spreading disinformation about this health crisis or that health crisis. And it has to do with the fact that the system is being run by automated bots and not, well, that's what people are saying. I don't really know what's going on. But the thing that's concerning and scary, it's scary for, YouTube content creators is look at Ivan Teller's channel. Like I tell you, like it is all become lost media. I don't know to what degree that Ivan Teller backed up all of his stuff. I know that there's some YouTube, even live streamers, that everything is backed up, triple backed up on multiple servers, and three different hard drives, and they've got everything annotated and clipped and saved and everything. And then there's some people, like, I don't know if Ivan Teller's this way, but I know that I'm certainly this way. Like, like I stream, and some of the streams, like, I think are like dog crap or embarrassing, so I delete them, or some of them get saved and archived onto a hard drive that gets packed up somewhere, and Lord knows where it is, and some stuff just doesn't get saved at all. I know that if certain of my channels got terminated, that all of that stuff primarily would be gone. Renee says, Genocide says, Renee says hi. Hello to Renee. So I know, because I go back in time and look at old videos and look at old, and I'm interested in, a lot of people just watch YouTube like it's the newscast. They watch what's new, and they don't know about these archives. They don't really care, to look back and what's back. But I know that Ivan Teller started uploading stuff to YouTube back in 2015. That's 9 years of content. And a lot of that stuff was live streams. Maybe he backlogged that stuff, but if a lot of that stuff is backlogged, what's the rewatch value of chat questions from April 12th, 2017, with no views on them? I mean, there's some of his videos that had, that people definitely, backed up and said, but he had, some of his videos had huge views. Like that, the biggest video that he had, I think, was that video, like Time Traveler from the year 30,000 or whatever it was, that like the 3,000, that had like bonkers views. And if that original video with those uploads are gone, like, yeah, his career, like, if that video, like, would show up in the algorithm based on the number of views that it has. That's a hit. Like I said, some videos to private, and then I'll set them back up to public, but I know, like, it hits you in the algorithm. So if he goes over to Rumble now, and his Rumble channel's X number of years old, but it wasn't, if you've had videos that were growing and getting views over the course of time, it's like compound interest. If you took that money out of the market, it wasn't earning money in the market. And I don't know what the value of that money is, but I do know it's lost media. There were live chats that he had, that were group chats. There were people hanging out there, talking, having their questions answered, hanging out with him. And now if that shit's just gone, that shit's just gone. And like I said, if it's re-uploaded, it's not quite the same. And it's like, also, it's that concept of lost media. You go back to see that thing that you saw that you want to see again. If it's gone, it's gone. If there was like a 7-inch by a band, from DC, and there were only 500 copies, there's still a chance that someone somewhere who's got one of those 500 copies, if 200 of them, like, bit the dust, 100, if someone's got 50 copies somewhere, that's one of those 50 copies could be spun onto digital and uploaded to YouTube, and then all of a sudden everybody's got that, and the beat lives on, the song lives on. But if the YouTube, a lot of these live streams, like a lot of these live streamers, like even King Cobra JFS, like say what you want, like a lot of his shit was, uploaded and deleted. And Casper, Wyoming, Big Bro, whatever. Like a lot of people like backlog and upload his stuff and save his stuff, but a lot of these guys like him, Von Helton, this guy, that guy, the other guy, even the clip channels, and some of the clip channels get axed and terminated. So there's whether you think it's a magic moment because it's hysterical, or whether you think it's a magic moment because it was sincere, it's gone. Then all that you're left with are the memories. And maybe that's the way we were for like hundreds of thousands of years. So I guess that's okay. You know what I mean? But I can tell you, like, the first time I saw Ivan Teller, I think may have been like around the Psychic Vampire days, where it was like the same kind of very similar thing to my first encounters with Brett Bernhoft, where I think I'd seen Ivan Teller before I went on the Psychic Vampires, podcast with Michael and Nipple Lord Ronaldinho and the sexy man with the accent. Like, it's been so long, I'm forgetting people's names. Doc Octopus. What was his name? Dr. Mysterio. God, he was just beautiful. The handsome one, right? The movie star. The movie star. Michael and Nipple Lord and CW the douche. Nah, you know what I mean? Not that it was a bit player at most. The fuck? Doc Savage. Thank you, Golden Coin 100. Golden Coin 100 is back there in the day. God, whatever happened to, oh my God, whatever happened to, you know who I still forget losing? Ed Upside Down Head, who I lost when I cheated on my wife. The last thing I said to Ed Upside Down Head, who appeared on one of my live streams before I cheated on my wife, was, don't forget the struggle, don't forget the streets. Speaking of things that we remember, I got to keep an eye on the time. I got about 30 minutes left. I was looking through my archives and I saw a video that I made on August 25th, 2021, right before I went into rehab. And in the live chat is Jiggy and Robin Eaglesong. And I'm talking about me wandering off into the desert to find my soul. If you know, you know. Anywho, Ivan Teller. So a lot of this shit is lost media. But I remember why I brought up Psychic Vampires is because just like Brett Bernhoft, I realized, like, I stand on the same spot with a lot of these people, but a lot of these people, like, where they were like, this guy's an idiot. I was like, yeah, he's an idiot, but he's beautiful. He's a total, of course he's not, channeling anything, but he's channeling something. He wants to channel something. Whatever he's doing, but it's like, I call these people, it's like a John Waters film. It's like, these are people, these are pieces of living art. Of course I have a soul. We'll get that archive video out there. I'm going to show. I'll play it on Patreon or whatever this weekend or something. It's incredible. The foreshadowing. It's incredible. The foreshadowing is incredible. It's incredible. But yeah, the Ivan Teller, like the amount of lost information, the amount of lost media is just incredible. I mean, those were Ivan Teller, like channeling Barbarella. Oh my God. I was like, and the thing, so I just want to remember, like, the things I remember about Ivan Teller, because you can go to Rumble, but it's like the scattering. It's like Dune. It's like Emperor Leto II with the scattering. Send humanity out there and then destroy the Highliners. You know what I mean? And they all go out to their islands, remember? Because, and maybe that's the way that it should be, because it's like, how many times have people done this with it generally happen in the conservative communities. With YouTube is shadow banning us. YouTube is censoring us. So remember, we're all going to BitChute, right? Whatever happened to BitChute? I know BitChute's still around, but we're all going to there was another one. I even did. I have one of these friggin' alternative channels that I don't do anything with. I forget the other one. And then there was Odyssey. And we're all going to, Subscribestar instead of Patreon. We're all going over here. We're all going over there. Now we're all going to Rumble. Well, FY, and in case you're curious, I think the SEC has an investigation on Rumble. And FY, and in case you're curious, people are talking about the sustainability of YouTube. So if people are talking about the sustainability of YouTube, what do you think the future is for BitChute, which is tied to crypto coins and blockchain technology? No offense. Or Odyssey, that nobody talks about anymore. And the time, energy, and effort, and how many times I tell you, people say that all the people that I've ever seen that said we're going to go to our own website, they all come back, right? Miles Johnson, they came back. The Basis Project is rebooting over here, or Carrie Cassidy, who is begging. Like I said, I want to cover a new Carrie Cassidy video, and I watched it. I watched an hour and a half of her doing this roundtable thing, and everything that she was talking about. I was like, how am I going to cover this without running the risk that my channel is going to get canceled for the same reasons that Ivan Teller's channel got canceled? And if you look at Meta, the parent organization of Facebook and Instagram, they've put out terms of service changes that basically let people know we're not really interested in having you guys talk about politics anymore. And mainstream political leftist organizations like Cenk Uygur and Rebel HQ or whatever, they're saying that Dave Pacman are saying, like, Meta are not promoting our political content. They're not promoting political content anymore. You have to become a member. You have to join us on Patreon. You have to join us over here. Please donate, because Meta is not going to promote political content anymore. And so you don't have to say that it's just against right-wing people. These organizations, they don't want to be involved in the controversy. They don't want to be libeled. The cat's going to screw everything up. Look at the cat. Cat's coming over here to screw things up. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Screw things up? Like Lenny the Second? Come on now. What are you going to do? They're like, show your ass. They're like, absolutely, show your ass, sausage jokes, do whatever you want to do. Just don't talk about this, don't talk about the other thing, and don't talk about politics. You want to make fun of Trump's hair? Make fun of Trump's hair. Maybe. Be careful about it, though. From the fallout to Road Deck from 2022. Page of Muskets. This is the equivalent of the Page of Wands. Earth of Fire. We got to be creative. We got to find new things to do. I made that reference to the scattering. There's a reason they go out there, all these little islands. The internet culture starts anew again. It all gloms up into one big meta thing of YouTube onto Facebook. Too big to fail, too big to survive. It's like a dinosaur. You got to go small. You got to start anew. But it's new news. You lose something, but in the loss, there's a new opportunity. From the ground sprouts something new, a new beginning, and a remembrance. a recollection to say, this too shall pass. Don't get too attached. Nothing lasts forever. And even if the channel had never been terminated, it would have been lost in the great overflow of data and information. Things change, people change, new casts of characters come anew and come around. And perchance it's good that media is lost and can become a memory again. So that we can remember it and be remembered that not to take it for granted. And so we can also remember that the things that we criticize and the things that we poke fun of and make fun of, they do have some true value, some real value. Let me give the book its messaging. Page of Muskets, upright. The Page of Muskets does not need power to pursue his passions and is always optimistic of what lies ahead. He may be a student or apprentice required to seek the guidance of others. He will share his sense of wonder in return. Reverse. The page's actions are misguided and his focus mismanaged, leading to carelessness. He requires the wisdom of those more experienced than he. This will help him find the right course again. You know, I always tried to reach out to Ivan Teller. Not directly, but through people that I thought he may have had connections to or with in the greater channeling community. Sorry, I'm going to take care of this message. There'll be another message coming through shortly. And like I said about the Donald Trump thing, if he had not gotten involved in that whole political brouhaha and that whole obsession that people got obsessed with, a whole bunch of people threw their whole lives away, their whole thing away. On this fantasy that this real estate millionaire real estate developer who has spent more time as a Democrat, this guy didn't care about anybody. He's a, a sexist, chauvinist son of a bitch. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey, right over the coast. Right over the border from New York City. Everybody in where I came from knew who this guy was. You know what I mean? Just knew who this guy was. And to see so many beautiful souls just, I think, get enraptured in their dislike of, well, really, they got enraptured in their community going, we all want to belong. It's not, we all want to be individuals. We all want to think of ourselves as independent and free thinkers, but at the same time, we all want to be in community and in contact. And the ones of us that are acting like, oh, well, I don't want to be in contact, you're probably acting out because there's something going on or whatever. My theory, whatever. this this kid, this Ivan Teller guy, was getting multiple strikes, and it's not his fault. But you know what I mean? Like he. But the thing is, this is like you gotta realize the thing that's so scary is that you can get strikes on videos that are like set to private. I understand you get videos, you get strikes on videos after you get a strike on a video. Like you just it's I don't know. He kept going. You know what I mean? You get 3 strikes in 90 days, and they terminate your channel. So I don't know what was going on with them, or what happened, or why he kept on pushing or talking about this stuff. He didn't need to. Same thing with Carrie Cassidy. Carrie Cassidy's doing this. Did this whole roundtable, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she just starts harping on this. She's just asking. She's had multiple channels go down. I watch whatever channels go down in real time, and it's like eventually, if you have enough channels go down, they're gonna, block you Kaiser Permanente, is my understanding. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? And again, like you know what I mean. I think people are just going back to finding it is what it is. It is what it is, baby. What can I do? It's not my place to judge, though I've judged. It's not my place to, I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm just, you know what I mean? Like I observe and I make, it's just a shame. One day I was just looking at my videos and I was going, geez, it's been a hot minute since I've seen an Ivan Teller video come up. And it's like Ceausescu's, country. I forget whether it was in like Czechoslovakia or whatever. It's like being disappeared. It used to be like on my what would happen is I would go through my subscriptions, and you'd see the person's name, the channel that got terminated. You'd see the name of the channel, and you'd see like this weird like blacked out kind of X through it, kind of weird kind of symbol next to it, and then you'd follow that, and it would say this channel has been terminated. Right, so it was like you were like notified that the channel that you loved and subscribed to got terminated. But I was going through my subscriptions. I had to go up and down. Like my brain was broken. I was like, I can follow the alphabet. Like, what the heck's going on? It wasn't like an alphabetical order necessarily all the time. So I'm like, what the heck's going on? I'm going back and forth looking for Ivan Teller until finally I do a search for Ivan Teller. I'm like, why is this channel filters, channels? Why is it not coming up? So I had to do like a search for like go through my history and be like, okay, I know that I watched an Ivan Teller video recently. So so I go to my history and I'm going, and it's like you get disappeared. All of a sudden it's not in my history. I'm like, wait, I know I've watched an Ivan Teller video between this video and that video. What is actually up? So I'm going around until finally I'm like, yo, what is actually up? So I have to go to see. I have to do a search for Ivan Teller. Then I find a video. I find all these videos with interviews with him. And here's where new age people are douches. Honestly, I had to go through like 3 or 4 interview videos with him before I found a video that had an interview with him that had his links in it. They were all interviews with him with like sarsaparilla sunshine, boobs out to here, and it was like all their links, and it was just an interview with him, but it was like his links weren't anywhere. Love and Light, Yoni, no offense, bitches, man. You know what I mean? New age bitches with their PR. Hope no one gets you in the back of their car. They got those clips. They got those clips on the TikTok. Got those clips. All Love and Light, bitch. Fucking hoe bags. You're all fucking hoe bags. No offense. You're not all fucking hoe bags. You're all fucking hoe bags. Sedona hoe bags. Hope I'm gonna get canceled, man. I'm gonna get terminated, yo. Probably not. The way this sexist spectrum works, I'm probably gonna go up in the numbers, yo. I can't speak. I can't do that. I'll get shot. This is Jersey, baby. I can't brap. If I brap, I'll get like, you know what I mean? I'll be wearing the wrong color. You can't do that around here. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. You can't do that around here. I could do hold on. Here's what I could do. Hold on. What is this? What? Gotta be shooting me. Hold on. No, wait. Hold on. Come on. No. Come on. No. Sorry. That's not it. Come on now. Yo, you all suck, man. A boy can't get a dub siren up in this piece? Not even. Not even the one I'm looking for. Yo, come on now. A bitch can't get a dub siren up in this piece. That's like a Doppler. You guys don't even know what the fuck I'm looking for. Almost. Yo, man, I don't even know. Well, that was a big time fail. Anywho, can't speak doing the best try. Listen. Okay. Josh. I gotta leave any minute now. So listen, hold on, folks. What haven't I covered? Ivan Teller. I haven't covered him. Listen, I got you covered, Ivan Teller. Ivan Teller channel, RIP, Lost Media. That's straight up. The dude had hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of content that is straight up gone. Okay. Jonaside, when you're at Crypticon, don't forget the channel Ivan Teller. I'm going to straight up. So I'm going to leave you. So things I haven't covered. When I went to Disney World, straight up, Ivan Teller had a series where he was going to Disney World all the time. Okay. Brothers from Florida. I'm not doxing him. He let people know his whole life story. He used to go to Disney World all the time and channel like out on the just walking around Main Street in Disney World, right? And so I transcribe everything, whatever. He wrote a book. Apparently he's got a book on Amazon.com, I guess. Get his book. Yo, he wrote a book more than I did. Anyway, so he would channel all the time walking around Disney World. I've been to Disney World like 3 or 4 times. People know, right? Every time I went to Disney World, post starting YouTube, you got to know that I was on the lookout for Ivan Teller. Straight up. I'm an Ivan Teller fan. So the times that I came hard on Ivan Teller, you got to know a lot of it was disappointment. That, you know what I mean? Yo, man, don't be racist, Ivan Teller. You're destroying my image of you, right? And really want to be this dude's friend, like want to be this guy's homie. I will straight up be totally honest. Like when I would go to Disney World, I would have my eyes peeled. My family would be like, "Yo, you looking out for Snow White? You looking out for Ariel or whatever?" I'd be like, "Yeah, totally." I had my eyes peeled for Ivan Teller. I was like dying. I had fantasies, straight up fantasies of me and Ivan Teller being like at karaoke, being like do, throwing the mic to him throwing the mic to me, do. I would walk 1,000 miles to do, and us being like homies, being like, it's like, you know, my bodyguard, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm teaching him about life, you know, I'm getting him laid. He gets me on Space Mountain, gets me over my fear of like, what you would call it, like roller coasters. You know what I mean? Like we start making shit happen. You know what I mean? Cosmic connection. You know what I mean? Never happened. It's probably good because you know what I mean. It would be like it would probably would not end well. The fantasy of meeting people is different than the reality, right? Because the fantasy involves your thoughts about a person that's not actually the person, right? The person is an independent human being that is not the person that you have in your head, right? Which is why you get disappointed about them when they do things that you don't think are in character of the person that you want them to be. But it is what it is. And it's still lost media. What are you going to do? It's a shame because Lord knows, here's the deal. I'm not going over to Rumble to watch Ivan Teller videos because I I've got YouTube on my phone, right? That's what happens. Jet Petty 9000. I'm late. Did Teller delete his channel or did he get booped by YouTube? He got booped by YouTube. If a person deletes their channel, it's like moving on and it's good. It's when a person gets deleted that it's the real shame. And like I said, a lot of it's just like lost media. It's like I think Ivan Teller was like Ivan Teller. Like there's a lot of people out here doing the channeling thing that it's just like, to me, a lot of the guys that do the channeling thing, it's a performative art. They know what they're doing and they know why. They may be 100% sincere, but they are of a relative level of intelligence and they are gifted in certain ways and they're giving the people what they think they want and they're doing things. And Ivan Teller was absolutely outsider art. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna diagnose anybody. I'm not gonna insult anybody's, make an assessment of anybody's level of intelligence or who or what they might be. I'm just gonna say the dude was, you know what I mean? It's like the Shags, he was absolutely the Shags of channeling. There's no doubt about it. Right? And that's part of the deal. Like part of the reason that, like at his most ignorant, he wasn't making money off of Buanon or, there was, you know what I mean? He never showed up at, any sort of, January, whatever rally or whatever. And there was nothing like about him that made you think that he was like a Cyrax or, anything like that. He was absolutely 100%, to my estimation. I don't know. I don't know the guy personally. I don't know whatever. He seemed to me to be benign, right? And I studied the guy. You know what I mean? Like I watched the guy's videos religiously. I watched almost all of his videos. The only time there were dip offs and the amount of time that I watched his videos were when I was so committed to the time traveling thing that I would watch videos of it. Like I was gassed when I would do video when I would be on time traveling things where like when I would do 2015 because he was in 2015 he was already uploading, so I was like watching Ivan Teller from back in the day. You know what I mean? But his arcs and like so I could tell you like Ivan Teller like was weird. Like I could tell you like things about the guy. Like to me, things I could tell you about Ivan Teller was I don't think he ever did drugs, but he wanted to do drugs. And many times at several instances during his channelings with various people that were obviously like into weed or whatever, he went through several like phases where he would where it would be a big thing with him to talk about um drugs, like especially marijuana or like mushrooms or LSD. And you could tell that he had never done them, but like via the channeling thing, he would be like he would want to channel the experience of getting high. And I'd be like, holy shit. Like he'd be like in a room with like he'd be like in a Google Plus chat room with a guy with like a pot leaf hat, and he'd be like, you could tell that he was like, there were arcs of this where he'd be like, we're getting high. You know what I mean? But you could tell, like, oh, this dude just like needs someone to go down with him to like or like he needs someone to, he wants someone to like spark him up. But like, you could tell, like, he had never gotten fucking high. You could tell he had never like done acid, but he had seen like 1969 with like Anthony Michael Hall or whatever in the theater or whatever, like whatever it was. And there were several times when, a couple of times where you could see that he at one point he had some lady that was like helping him kind of co-host his channels with him, and she was like dead on, like hot. She was like this brunette girl. She was smoking, and she had like these headphones that were like cat ear headphones. This girl was like an 11, and like it was just like nuts, like it was just, and like there were other interactions that he had with females. Like, I don't know if this dude is like, I don't know, like he's never mentioned like having a girlfriend. And that's why I was like, yo, Ivan, man, like I was like, yo, send me your home address, like I will fly down, like I will, you just need, you know what I mean, you need Chanter Vision, like I can straighten you out, bro, like, you know what I mean. I was like, just like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, just ask her for her number. Like, it was just like insane. You know what I mean? There was just like these arcs. That was just like, yo, man, come on, like make it happen, bro. But he was just a trip, man. I'm talking about him like he's dead. But that's the thing about YouTube. Like, you can go to Odyssey, you can go all these places, but it's like, it's not like you're dead, but it's kind of like you're dead. Well, I mean, but I guess it's, to me, it's like the scattering. It's like if you go like Leto the second, get them out there, and they're dead to each other, but they're not dead. He's on Rumble. Like I've seen Michael Omniaris's numbers on Rumble. He gets good numbers. There's a life out there. I don't even know if Rumble has an app. Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But if you start over from zero on somewhere, I don't know. But like I said, like to me, you might as well be dead. But that's just me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to turn on Rumble when I go to sleep, because YouTube, you know, it does the thing. I set up the playlist and then I'm taken care of. I know how to work it. I ain't going to Rumble. You know what I mean? This is, maybe I'm lazy, but whatever. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. What are you going to do? So before I go entirely, I just want to say this. The Patreon, I got a Patreon. If you take a look at the description box below, I've got a Patreon. I was doing a weekly live stream. I think I'm going to do something, not to screw the Patreon people, but I think to make the Patreon better. Okay. I was doing these epic live streams that were a little bit like my regular live streams that were going on for a long time. But here's the deal. I've been watching the analytics on the Patreon live streams, okay? And I made this comment I've made this comment before on Patreon, but it's kind of true. It's not kind of true. It's literally true. The more effort I put into Patreon, the less the poorer the performance on Patreon, okay? But this is the God's honest truth. People who support me on Patreon are diehards who just love me and support me on Patreon, right? And people who generally watch my streams, they you watch for me, you do. But a lot of that, I think, is also you like the live chat interaction, you like hanging out with people, so whatever. So what ends up happening is, I'll be completely honest with you. No one on Patreon needs to feel bad about this, but this is God's honest truth. People don't watch the Patreon live streams. So I'll do like a 2-hour Patreon live stream, and I notice the number of views is like a third of the Patreon supporters I have. And then I look at the analytics, and people are like watching, like the average watch time is like 2.5 minutes. I'll be completely honest. Okay. So it doesn't really make sense for me to do those epic live streams on Patreon, even though I think I'm doing a good thing on Patreon. It's like, if I'm doing 2.5 hours of like prime CW Chanter, like, yeah, it's like, it's wasted content. Right. So here's what I think I'm going to do instead. I'm going to do a more concentrated Patreon stream. Not like necessarily even a stream. I think I'm going to do like a 3-card, like tarot card read, like tarot card week in review kind of read. Like, so there's going to be a weekly tarot card forecast on Patreon. I think that's going to make more people subscribe to me on Patreon. I was doing like, oh, I'll do a weekly live stream on Patreon. I don't think that got people, but I think Jet 9000 says, I lost access to my Patreon account, don't have access, and currently switching back to Jaded Silva. No problem. No, girl, I hear you. But I think if I tell people that I'm doing the tarot cards on Patreon, I think that'll be better because then people can see, like, if they see a 16-minute video or a 15-minute video and they know it's a Patreon, if they know it's a tarot card for the week, I think they'll watch that more. I think if people see a 2.5 hour live stream and they know it's like not even a live chat, they come to it after the fact, they're like, holy shit. And especially if it's something they're not necessarily interested in, like me talking about, like, you know, the reptilian nemesis of Pluto in April 2nd, 2022. I get you. You know what I mean? Five of Steel. That's the equivalent of the Five of Swords. Okay. Man using his man or woman, you know, conscious entity using their thoughts and their brain power. Okay. I think that's the way to do it. I think that's a better use of our time. Tim Frey says, yeah, man, more tarot is always good. I think that's the way to spin the chandelier. I think that's a better use of our. I think that'll be a way. We'll try it. If it doesn't work, and there's no real working Patreon. Look, if you take a look at the Patreon link below, it's $1 a month, and you'll be supporting me. Listen, folks, the motion that was filed on my behalf for attorney's fees has a bill of over $30,000. Okay? For the lawsuit that was brought against me for making content that presumably people like on YouTube. So if you want to help defray my legal fees that are not recouped yet, and you can also support me in general, it's $1 a month. There's content there already that you can watch if you care to watch more of me. Hey, why not? And there's upcoming tarot card streams, pulls for the week. Hey, weekly tarot card pulls from streams from, or, you know, forecasts from CW Chanter. Who could ask for anything more? Well, anyone could ask for anything more. I mean, $1 million a day. You know what I mean? Let's get laid tonight. You can ask for anything more. You know, peace on earth. You know what I mean? Jesus coming back. You could ask, you know, you could ask for less too. I mean, you know, who are you? But you could ask for that too as well. I'll give you what I'm telling you what you could get for $1 a month. How about that? Ask me no secrets. I'll tell you no lies. Ivan Teller is no longer with us on YouTube, but I'm still around. Tim Frey, 3 cards is always better than 1. Depending on what the cards are, Tim, right? You got to know when to stick, right? I'm reminded of that this is apropos for the 5 of Steel, equivalent to the 5 of Swords in more traditional decks. Trust me on this one. You can trust me on this one. I'm reminded, I don't know what Austin Powers movie it was, but it's when he's playing, I guess, what is it? It's blackjack or whatever. And I think he's at 20. He's at 20 or 21. And he goes, hit me. He goes over, of course. And he goes, well, to be honest, cards were never really my game. You got to know when to hold them. That's the song. And then this, it's a banana. It was just my hand. I'm not doing anything. This is emotion. I got the involuntary hand jiggling disease. No, I'm not spreading medical disinformation. I'm doing a bit of hand jiggling while sticking out my tongue. It's the world's worst Gene Simmons impersonation. Get it? Maybe I'm coming up a little short. Can I kiss you? Tell you what. Know when to fold them. On the 2020 election, the guy lost, folks. He lost. Okay, Ivan? You should have known when to fold them. 3 strikes and you're out. I hope I don't get any. Okay? Folks, it took 3 strikes in 90 days to get your channel terminated. Okay? I don't know what he was thinking. And it's a shame, and we all lose. Ivan Teller had a great channel. He was a great guy. He's a great guy. He's still around. You can apparently catch him on Rumble. Listen, folks, I like the guy. I wish him the best. Okay? I'll miss listening to him while I go to sleep at night. Maybe he'll get another channel going. Who knows? He said that he's not. I have to go, but he said that he's not because he doesn't feel safe on YouTube. And look, I agree with him to a certain point. We exist at YouTube's largesse. As a YouTube content creator, remember this. It is a little bit like, and I hope I don't anger the YouTube gods. If you're a YouTube content creator, if you're a content creator on any of these formats, whether, I gotta be honest, with whether it's Rumble, YouTube, BitChute, any of these services, if you are not creating content on your own web channel, and even then, but for the most part, if you are on any streaming service, you exist at that streaming service's largesse. Read not just the fine print, read the gross print of the terms of service. You may own the intellectual property of your content, but it is very much like setting up shop at a place where the rent may be basically free, but the landlord can come in at any time and say, we're kicking you out of the store. And, ladies and gentlemen, location, location, location. Don't confuse the fact that it's a virtual piece of real estate with the fact that it's still location, location, location. If your presence on this piece of real estate goes away, despite the fact that you've got the email list, despite the fact that you've got other people that you know that they're subscribed to you on Twitter or whatever other service as well. If your store picks up and moves across town or moves across to this service or to that other IP location or this other website address, if you think it's a foregone conclusion that all of your customers are going to make the same switch over, you are mistaken. It is much more likely that they're going to get whatever they were getting from you. That ice cream cone, that D&D content, that information about who's and what's in the ufology community, that update about this political thing or that political thing. Everyone wants to believe that they're given something that nobody else has got. Trust me. Trust me. If you're a beautiful woman, if you're a handsome guy, the world is full of beautiful women and handsome guys. And if you're a smart, funny person, the world is full of funny, smart people. That's knowledgeable about this, that's smart about that, that reads these kind of books, that does this sort of content. I'm not saying that to bring you down. I'm saying that to bring you to a sense of reality. And I love you. I love you. I love you. And if nobody told they loved you today, somebody just did. That's somebody, CW Chanter. We wish Ivan Teller the best of luck in all of his future endeavors. And we're sorry your channel got terminated. We truly, truly are. We wish you best of luck on Rumble. Michael Omnieros is on Rumble as well. So good luck over there. Okay? Till next time. Adios.